And how do you prepare for one of these presentations you give?
My way of preparing is pretty unique. I don't think many people prepare like this. Or maybe lots do, I don't know, but I've met a lot of people who seem to really structure out their talks in quite a lot of detail, and I really don't. I do in my head, but not on paper. I'm not a very good planning, detailed, focused person. So I far prefer, obviously I have an idea of the talk I want to give, I completely know what message I want to get across. I come up with stories that illustrate that message from my own life that I can share, and through that it comes quite naturally, I guess. I just weave how the presentation should flow to communicate the story, and physically what I do is I do write down a few dot points, with my opening line, my closing line. It's really important to have a good conclusion. So you definitely get that word for word, and pretty much everything else I usually just know where I'm going with what I'm saying. And there might be 3 words here that I always say exactly the same to make sure it's punchy, but the rest usually is different every single time I give the talk. And I just rehearse it about 4 or 5 times, just going through like that with my notes there to myself, and then I know it enough, and that's just the way I do it. A lot of people rehearse it 15 times, and that's what they need, and that's good for them. For me, 5 is already getting stale for me, so 5's like my limit, which is different to a lot of people I've spoken to, so I don't know if it will work for you or not, but if it does, then awesome.
Okay, so it was having a clear outcome as to kind of the key message you want to get across.
Yeah.
Then it was having a few key dot points that you want to hit on throughout the talk.
Yeah.
Knowing exactly what your conclusion is.
Yeah, I mean, totally knowing the structure. Always. Yeah. It's in my head though. I never take notes on stage. Never ever take notes on stage. I totally have the structure so clearly down in my head, and it's so clear in my head because of the process. When I do my 5 rehearsals, I start with an A4 piece of paper and the main dot points and the smaller dot points of what I need to cover under that. And a main dot point might be a story, and I include the details of that story that I mustn't forget to miss. And then the more I rehearse it, every time I just take out, I cross off more of the detailed notes until I've just got maybe 3 not even sentences, 3 just really punchy dot points, which are my main structure. And then I just hold that in my head, and because I've rehearsed it, I just know exactly where to go and flow with my talk. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Okay.
Absolutely perfect. And I can tell you've got a lot of energy behind it. You know what you're talking about. It's awesome.